Welcome to English Language Academy. Title: The Journey of Sam the Postman. Sam was a simple man with a big heart and a quiet smile. For over 30 years he had been the postman of Willowbrook, a small village nestled between rolling hills and rivers. Every day, he would ride his old bicycle with a big bag of letters and packages. Rain or shine, Sam delivered mail to every home and every person in Willowbrook. Sam knew everyone in the village. He knew Mrs. Wilson's cat, who loved to play with string, and Mr. Lee, who always waited for a letter from his daughter in the city. Sam even knew where the old tree roots poked out of the ground, and he would avoid them, so he didn't lose balance on his bike. One chilly autumn morning, as Sam was sorting through letters in the post office, he found a bright red envelope with no return address. It was addressed simply to Mr. Postman. Curious, Sam opened it and found a small card inside. "Thank you for always delivering hope and joy to our doorsteps from a secret friend." Sam was touched by the note, and he wondered who had written it. He knew every person in Willowbrook, but this note felt mysterious. Maybe they just want to stay a secret, Sam thought with a smile. That day, as he started his route, he felt a little lighter, a little happier. It was a beautiful day, and the leaves were red, orange, and gold. As he rode through the village, he noticed a little boy standing by the road looking sad. Sam stopped his bike and greeted him. "Hello, young man. Why the sad face?" Sam asked. The boy, named Tim, looked up at Sam with tears in his eyes. "My dad went to the city for work, and he said he'd write me letters, but I haven't received any yet." Sam patted Tim on the shoulder. "Sometimes letters take a while, but don't worry, Tim. Your dad's letter will come soon. I'll make sure of it." Tim nodded, looking a little hopeful, and Sam continued on his way, thinking about the little boy's disappointment. He knew how much a letter could mean to someone, especially when it came from someone they missed. A few days later, Sam had an idea. That evening, he sat down at his small wooden desk and wrote a letter to Tim. In the letter, he pretended to be Tim's father, telling him about the city, the tall buildings, and how he missed his son. Sam felt a bit guilty for not telling Tim the truth, but he just wanted to see the boy smile. The next day, when Tim opened the mailbox and saw the letter, his face lit up. He ran over to Sam, waving the letter in his hand. "Mr. Postman, my dad wrote to me." Sam smiled and ruffled Tim's hair. "I told you it would come, didn't I?" From that day on, Sam made it a mission to help others in little ways. Whenever he noticed someone lonely or sad, he would write them a small note or letter, sometimes pretending to be a secret admirer or a far-off friend. For him, delivering joy was even more important than delivering mail. Word spread around the village about the little magical letters that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Everyone wondered who could be behind them, but Sam kept his secret. One winter morning, Sam fell ill. He tried to get up, determined to deliver the mail, but his legs were too weak and his chest felt tight. The doctor came to see him and told him he had to rest for at least a week. Sam felt restless, thinking about all the people who would be waiting for their letters and packages. A few days later, as Sam was sitting by his window, he heard a knock at his door. To his surprise, he found Tim and a few other villagers standing outside, each holding letters. "Mr. Postman, we decided to bring the letters to you today," Tim said proudly. Sam's heart swelled with gratitude. Each of the villagers handed him a letter, and he realized they were thank-you notes for all the times he had brought joy into their lives. One letter from Mrs. Wilson read, "Thank you for the letter you sent me last year when I was feeling lonely. It made me feel special." Another from Mr. Lee said, "Thank you for always bringing my daughter's letters safely to me." Sam wiped a tear from his eye. He never expected that the kindness he'd shown would come back to him in such a heartfelt way. After a few weeks, Sam recovered and returned to work. The village cheered when they saw him back on his bike, delivering mail with his usual smile. But Sam knew that he was delivering more than just letters. He was delivering little pieces of hope, kindness, and friendship. Sam the postman continued his rounds for many more years, carrying with him the love of a village that he had touched with his simple acts of kindness. And every so often, he would still find a small red envelope in his bag, addressed to Mr. Postman from his secret friend, who he realized was the village itself. The end. The poor man's dream. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet village, there lived a poor man named Ali. Ali was kind, hardworking, and generous, even though he had very little to give. Every day, he worked long hours in the fields, cutting grass and carrying heavy loads of firewood. Despite his hard work, Ali barely earned enough money to buy food. He lived in a tiny old house with a leaky roof, and his clothes were patched in many places. Ali's greatest wish was to live a comfortable life and to have enough money to help others in need. However, every night when he lay down to sleep, he felt the weight of his poverty on his shoulders. Still, he kept working day after day, never giving up. One day, as Ali was walking back from the forest with a heavy bundle of wood on his back, he saw an old man sitting by the side of the road. The old man looked weak and tired, with tattered clothes and no shoes on his feet. Ali stopped and asked, "Sir, are you all right? Do you need any help?" The old man smiled weakly and said, "I am very thirsty. I have not had a drink of water for hours." Ali quickly took out his small water bottle and offered it to the old man. After drinking, the old man thanked Ali warmly and said, "You are a good and kind man. Not many people would stop to help a stranger. Tell me, young man, what is your greatest wish?" Ali was surprised by the question. He thought for a moment and replied, "I wish I could live a comfortable life, with enough food, a warm house, and a little extra to help those in need." The old man nodded and said, "You have a generous heart. I may look poor, but I am a wise man who has traveled far and wide. Tonight, when you sleep, keep your faith strong. Good things will come to you if you keep working hard and helping others." Ali thanked the old man and continued on his way. That night, Ali went to bed feeling a bit lighter. He didn't know why, but he felt that his life was about to change. The next morning, Ali woke up to the sound of clinking coins. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, and looked around. On the floor beside his bed was a small leather pouch filled with gold coins. Ali could hardly believe his eyes. He picked up the pouch and counted the coins. There were 20 of them. With the gold coins, Ali was able to fix his old house and buy warm clothes and enough food to last him for several months. He was overjoyed. But he didn't keep all the gold for himself. Ali remembered his promise to help others, so he shared his wealth with those in the village who were struggling. A few months passed, and Ali's life was happier than ever. However, one day, he found himself back to his usual earnings after the gold was spent on necessities. He started working hard again, and as he did so, he continued to help the villagers whenever he could. Ali found peace in his daily routine and in the joy he brought to others. Then one evening, Ali saw the same old man he had met by the road months before. The old man smiled and said, "Ali, I see you have used the gold wisely. But remember, wealth alone doesn't bring happiness. True happiness comes from the kindness you give to others and the hard work you put into life." Ali bowed respectfully and thanked the old man for his wisdom. The old man then handed Ali a small seed and said, "Plant this seed near your home. It will bring you good fortune, but only as long as you care for it." Ollie went home and planted the seed in a sunny spot by his house. He watered it every day, even when he was tired or the weather was bad. After a few weeks, a beautiful plant with golden leaves grew from the seed. Ollie found that every morning, a single golden leaf would fall from the plant. Ollie knew that he could live comfortably as long as he took only one leaf a day. And so, he did just that. He used the leaves wisely and continued to help others with his good fortune. The villagers admired Ollie's kindness, and soon he was known as the man who brought blessings to the village. Ollie lived a long and happy life, not because he was rich, but because he had learned the true value of generosity, hard work, and kindness. The plant with golden leaves stood by his house as a reminder that even in difficult times, a kind heart can bring light into the world. And so Ollie's story spread far and wide, inspiring people to remember that happiness is not about wealth alone. True happiness lies in kindness, in sharing, and in a heart that never loses hope. The end. The day I found a hidden door in my house. One sunny Saturday morning, I was in my room trying to find my favorite blue sweater. It wasn't in my closet, nor under my bed, and not even in the laundry. I searched everywhere, but the sweater seemed to have vanished. Frustrated, I decided to look through the attic. Our attic was dusty and filled with old boxes, forgotten toys, and old clothes. It wasn't a place I went often, mostly because it was dark and creepy. Still, I wanted my sweater, and I was determined to look in every corner. As I moved some boxes around, I noticed something odd. One side of the wall looked different from the others. There was a small crack along the edge, almost like a line drawn on the wall. Curious, I leaned closer and ran my fingers along the crack. To my surprise, a piece of the wall moved slightly. My heart skipped a beat. "What's this?" I whispered to myself. I gave the wall a gentle push, and it slowly swung open. It was a hidden door. I'd never seen it before, and I had no idea it existed. Behind the door was a narrow, dark hallway. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should explore it, but the excitement was too strong to ignore. I grabbed a flashlight from the shelf in the attic, took a deep breath, and stepped through the hidden door. The hallway was old and musty, with spider webs in the corners and dust everywhere. It looked like no one had been there in a very long time. As I walked, I noticed strange drawings on the walls, small animals, trees, and stars, all drawn in faded paint. They made the hallway feel magical, almost like it was a secret world hidden in my own house. At the end of the hallway, I reached another door, this one smaller and made of wood. I tried the handle, and it creaked open. Inside was a cozy little room with a single window, though it was too dirty to see outside. In the corner was a small table with a candle and some old books. On the wall hung a dusty mirror, and beneath it was a small trunk with a golden lock. My heart was racing with excitement. I knelt beside the trunk and tried to open it, but it was locked. Just then, I remembered the strange key I had found in the backyard a few years ago. I had kept it in a drawer, thinking it was just a piece of junk. But now I wondered if it could be the key to this trunk. I ran back to my room, found the key, and returned to the hidden room. My hands shook as I fit the key into the lock. To my surprise, it turned smoothly, and the trunk clicked open. Inside, I found an old diary, some strange coins, and a small locket with a picture of a woman I didn't recognize. I opened the diary and read the first page. "To whoever finds this, my name is Eleanor. This room was my secret place, a place to dream and hide. If you found this, then maybe you're a dreamer too. I hope you keep it safe, just as I did." The diary was filled with Eleanor's thoughts, dreams, and little stories. She had lived in my house many years ago and had created this secret space to escape from the world. As I read, I felt a connection to Eleanor, even though I had never met her. I spent hours in the hidden room, reading her diary and imagining what her life was like. She seemed like a kind and creative person, someone who loved stories and adventure. I felt lucky to have found her secret, like I had discovered a hidden friend from the past. When I finally left the room, I carefully closed the trunk, blew out the candle, and shut the hidden door behind me. I decided to keep Eleanor's room a secret, just like she had. It was my little adventure, and maybe someday I would pass it on to someone else. From that day on, I felt like my house was a little more magical. Every time I passed the attic, I thought of Eleanor and her hidden room. And strangely enough, I found my blue sweater hanging in my closet, just where I thought I had left it. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Or maybe, just maybe, it was a little bit of magic. Title: Living Like a Billionaire for 24 Hours, The Ultimate Dream Life. Chapter 1: The Surprise Invitation. Emma, a young woman with big dreams, lives a simple life in a small city. She's hardworking, but luxury and extravagance are things she has only ever seen on TV. One day, a mysterious invitation arrives at her doorstep. It's a ticket for a billionaire for a day experience. She doesn't know why she was chosen, but sees this as an opportunity to live out her ultimate dream life for 24 hours. Chapter 2: The First-Class Flight. Emma's adventure starts at the airport, where a private jet waits just for her. Inside, she finds a cozy bed, a personal chef, and a selection of luxury snacks. She's surprised by the comfort and personal attention from the flight crew, who treat her like a true VIP. She enjoys fine dining while soaring through the sky, feeling on top of the world. Chapter 3: Arrival at the Mansion. When Emma arrives at her destination, a chauffeur with a limousine awaits her. They drive through scenic landscapes until they reach a sprawling mansion. The gates open, and she catches her first glimpse of the luxurious estate. Marble floors, grand chandeliers, and walls adorned with art make her feel like she's in a dream. She's welcomed by the mansion's staff, who show her to a beautifully decorated suite with a massive walk-in closet filled with designer clothes and jewelry. Emma chooses a stunning gown and feels like royalty as she dresses up for her special day. Chapter 4: Spa and Self-Care. The day starts with a luxurious spa experience. Emma enjoys a massage, a facial, and a variety of exotic treatments. Every step of the experience is carefully curated to make her feel refreshed and glamorous. She can't help but feel like a celebrity, enjoying the peace and pampering of a true billionaire lifestyle. Chapter 5: Shopping Spree at Designer Stores. Next, Emma is taken to a high-end shopping district where all the designer stores have been closed just for her. She gets to pick out clothes, shoes, bags, and jewelry without looking at price tags. Personal shoppers help her find the perfect items, and she indulges in an extravagant shopping spree, knowing she can take anything she wants. Chapter 6: Gourmet Lunch at a 5-star Restaurant. For lunch, Emma is escorted to an exclusive restaurant where a private chef has prepared a multi-course meal for her. She tries dishes she's only heard of before: caviar, truffle pasta, and decadent desserts. The chef explains each dish, and Emma savors every bite, amazed by the rich flavors and artful presentation. Chapter 7: Flying in a Private Helicopter. After lunch, Emma takes a thrilling helicopter tour of the city. Seeing the city from above is breathtaking, and the pilot takes her over famous landmarks, luxurious beach houses, and glittering skyscrapers. For a moment, she feels like she owns everything beneath her. Chapter 8: A Yacht Party on the Ocean. Emma's next stop is a lavish yacht party. She boards a luxury yacht anchored in a beautiful marina and meets a small group of VIPs. The yacht sails out to the open sea, where they enjoy music, dancing, and gourmet snacks. The experience of relaxing on a private yacht feels surreal, and Emma can hardly believe that this is her life, even if only for a day. Chapter 9: The Charity Gala. As evening falls, Emma is invited to a grand charity gala. She wears a glamorous gown and sparkling jewelry and arrives in style with a red carpet rolled out for her. Celebrities, CEOs, and influential people surround her, and she learns about the impact of wealth used for good causes. Inspired, she donates to a cause close to her heart, feeling a sense of purpose and pride. Chapter 10: Sunset on a Private Island. To end her day, Emma is taken to a private island for a quiet, luxurious dinner under the stars. She watches the sun set over the ocean, reflecting on the incredible day she's had. For a few moments, everything feels perfect, like she's living in a dream she never wants to end. Chapter 11: A Simple Goodbye. Emma returns to the mansion, where she spends one last night in her grand suite. In the morning, her adventure ends. She's flown back home, feeling a bit sad, but also deeply grateful for the experience. She carries memories of her dream day, realizing that, even if it was only for 24 hours, she was able to experience a billionaire's lifestyle. Epilogue: The Real Dream. Back to her regular life, Emma feels inspired to work towards her dreams with renewed motivation. She knows that true happiness doesn't come from luxury, but from the love of friends and family and the sense of purpose in her daily life. Her day as a billionaire has taught her that, while luxury is nice, what really matters are the simple things. She smiles, ready to chase her dreams, knowing she's already living her best life in her own way. End. Welcome to English Language Academy. I tried to survive without my phone for a week. Here's what happened. For most people today, life without a phone seems unimaginable. Phones have become an essential part of our daily routine. From setting alarms to navigating new places, staying in touch with friends and family, keeping up with the news, and so much more. They're often the first thing we reach for in the morning and the last thing we check before going to bed. So, when I decided to go without my phone for an entire week, I had no idea what to expect. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it, but I was curious to see how life would feel without constantly checking notifications or scrolling through social media. Here's what happened. Day 1. The phantom vibration feeling. I turned off my phone at midnight the night before and left it in a drawer. Almost immediately, I felt a strange sense of anxiety. My hand kept reaching for my pocket, expecting my phone to be there. I kept thinking I felt it buzzing, even though I knew it was off. This feeling, called phantom vibration syndrome, is surprisingly common among people who use their phones frequently. Throughout the day, I kept instinctively looking for my phone, especially whenever I had a few minutes of free time, like waiting in line for coffee or on the bus ride to work. I realized how often I used my phone just to fill small gaps in time. By the end of the day, I felt uncomfortable, but also curious about how I would adapt. Day 2. Struggling without GPS. The second day came with a significant challenge. I had to meet a friend in a part of town I wasn't familiar with, and without GPS on my phone, I felt completely lost. I tried to remember how people used to navigate before smartphones. I ended up using a printed map, which was surprisingly helpful, but it was much slower. I also had to ask a few people for directions, which felt a bit awkward at first, but also reminded me of how friendly people can be. I arrived at the cafe 15 minutes late, and my friend joked about how I was back in the Stone Age. But I started to realize how much we rely on technology to guide us instead of figuring things out ourselves. Day 3. Feeling disconnected from friends and family. By the third day, I started to feel genuinely disconnected. Without text messages, social media, or even calls, I couldn't keep up with what was happening in my friends' lives. I felt like I was missing out on things, even though I had told people ahead of time that I would be unreachable. I missed being able to send a quick, "How are you?" or share a funny meme. I was starting to understand how deeply phones had woven themselves into my social life. To keep myself busy, I tried to focus on other things like reading, but it wasn't the same. Day 4. Discovering real free time. On day 4, something surprising happened. I realized how much free time I actually had. Without a phone, I wasn't distracted by notifications or checking updates every few minutes. My mind felt clearer, and I started to feel more focused. I was able to spend more time on things I usually rushed through, like cooking a proper breakfast, writing in my journal, and even going for a long walk, just because I felt like it. I felt more connected to the world around me, noticing small details like the leaves on trees and the sound of birds. It was refreshing, and I began to understand why people often say that taking a break from screens can help you feel more present. Day 5. Finding new ways to communicate. By now, I had adjusted to not having my phone, but I still needed ways to communicate with people. Instead of texting, I started sending emails from my laptop, which was slower but made me think more about what I wanted to say. I also planned meetups ahead of time and used a landline to make calls. One of my friends even wrote me a letter, which felt really special. It was nice to receive a physical message instead of just another notification. I began to appreciate how communication used to be more intentional, where you took the time to write something meaningful rather than sending quick, sometimes thoughtless messages. Day 6. Realizing how much phones distract us. On the 6th day, I noticed how people around me were constantly on their phones. At lunch, I watched a couple sitting at a table together, but both were looking down at their screens. I realized that without my phone, I was more engaged with the people I was with and paid more attention to my surroundings. The break from my phone helped me see how distracted I often was when I had it. I thought about how many conversations I'd missed pieces of because I was busy looking at my phone. It was a wake-up call. Day 7. Reflecting on what I learned, when the 7th day came to an end, I was both relieved and proud of myself for making it through the week. I couldn't deny that life without a phone had its challenges. Navigating, communicating, and keeping up with friends was more complicated. But I also noticed some positive changes in myself. I felt more focused, more present, and less stressed. I realized that I didn't need my phone as much as I thought. Instead of constantly relying on it to fill every quiet moment, I could find other ways to occupy my time, connect with people, and enjoy life. Conclusion. Finding balance. Going without my phone for a week taught me a lot about balance. While I don't think I could completely give up my phone, I'm more aware of how I use it and how often I reach for it out of habit rather than necessity. Now, I try to be more mindful, setting limits on my screen time, and giving myself breaks to be fully present in the moment. This experience showed me that while phones are helpful tools, it's essential to remember that they're just that, tools. It's easy to get lost in our screens, but sometimes the best moments happen when we look up and see what's around us. And my dog saved my life. You won't believe how. Chapter 1: A New Friend. When I first met Max, he was just a little ball of fur. I had always wanted a dog, and after months of searching, I finally found him at a local shelter. Max was a mixed breed with big brown eyes and floppy ears that made him look both adorable and a little silly. From the moment he licked my hand, I knew we were meant to be together. Life with Max was full of laughter and love. He was playful, energetic, and always by my side. Whether I was working at home, cooking, or just relaxing, Max was there. We went for walks every day, rain or shine, and I soon realized that he was more than just a pet. Max was my best friend. Chapter 2, A Routine Day, Takes a Turn. One chilly autumn evening, I decided to take Max for a walk through the nearby woods. It was our favorite place to explore, with tall trees, quiet paths, and a small hidden stream that Max loved to splash in. The sun was setting, casting long shadows, and a cool breeze made the leaves rustle around us. We walked deeper into the woods, enjoying the peaceful sounds of nature. I was lost in thought, and Max was happily sniffing around, following trails only he could sense. As the sky grew darker, I realized we had wandered farther than usual. It was time to head back, but just as I turned, I felt a strange pain in my chest. At first, I thought it was nothing. Maybe I had just twisted the wrong way or pulled a muscle. But the pain grew sharper and stronger, making it hard to breathe. My vision blurred, and a wave of dizziness hit me. I tried to steady myself, but my legs gave out, and I fell to the ground. Chapter 3, Max's Instinct. Max ran over to me, sensing that something was wrong. He nudged my face with his nose and whimpered, as if asking, "Are you okay?" I could barely keep my eyes open, and the pain in my chest felt like fire. I tried to call for help, but my voice was weak. Max didn't hesitate. He barked loudly, a deep, urgent sound that echoed through the quiet woods. Over and over he barked, his eyes wide with worry. Somehow he seemed to understand that I needed help, and he was determined to get it. But there was no one around. We were deep in the forest, and I feared no one would hear his cries. I felt myself slipping, my world turning dark. But Max didn't stop. He barked, and then he did something incredible. Chapter 4, Racing for Help. Max ran off into the woods, disappearing into the trees. For a moment, I felt alone and scared, but I knew Max wasn't abandoning me. He was going to find help. What I didn't know was that Max had run all the way back to the park entrance, where he saw a couple walking their own dog. Max barked and barked, running back and forth, trying to get their attention. The couple noticed him and thought he looked familiar. They had seen us at the park before. They knew Max, and they could see something was wrong. The woman crouched down and called Max over. "What's wrong, boy?" "Where's your owner?" she asked. Max barked again and started running back into the woods, looking over his shoulder to make sure they were following. The couple understood his urgency and decided to follow him, hoping they weren't too late. Chapter 5, Rescued just in time. By the time Max led the couple to me, I was barely conscious. I could hear voices, but they sounded far away. My chest hurt, and I felt so tired, but I tried to stay awake. The man knelt beside me, checking my pulse, while the woman called 911, explaining that I was having some kind of emergency in the woods. It felt like forever, but soon I heard the sound of sirens in the distance. Paramedics arrived and quickly assessed my condition. They placed me on a stretcher and carefully carried me to the ambulance. Max stayed close, his eyes never leaving me, as if he was making sure I was safe. As we rode to the hospital, the paramedics told me that I was lucky Max had found help so quickly. I was having a heart attack, and without Max's quick actions, I might not have made it. Chapter 6, Recovery and Gratitude. After a few days in the hospital, I started to recover. The doctors told me that my heart attack had been severe, but thanks to Max, I was going to be okay. They were amazed by the story of how he had found help, calling him a hero. When I finally got to go home, Max was there, wagging his tail and licking my face as if he hadn't seen me in years. I hugged him tightly, tears in my eyes, grateful beyond words. Max had saved my life, and I knew I owed everything to him. From that day on, our bond was even stronger. Max was more than just a dog. He was my hero, my protector, and my best friend. Every day, I was reminded of how much he meant to me, and I made sure to show him all the love and care he deserved. Chapter 7. A life forever changed. Life returned to normal, but it felt different. I appreciated each day more, knowing how close I had come to losing it all. Max and I continued our walks, though we stayed closer to the main paths. I knew he would always be there for me, but I didn't want to risk another scare. Max became a local celebrity after our story spread. The couple who had helped us shared our story, and soon everyone in town knew about the brave dog who had saved his owner's life. People stopped us on our walks to pat Max's head and tell him how amazing he was. Max didn't care much for the attention. He was just happy to be by my side. Chapter 8. Looking forward. Years passed, and Max and I shared countless adventures together. He grew older, his fur turning gray, but his spirit remained as strong as ever. I knew that our time together wouldn't last forever, but I cherished every moment. I often thought back to that day in the woods, feeling thankful that Max had been there when I needed him most. I knew he had saved my life, and in a way he had also taught me how precious life was. Every day with Max was a gift, and I was determined to make the most of it. Max was more than just my dog, he was my hero. And as long as I lived, I would never forget the day my best friend saved my life. The end. Thanks for watching English Language Academy. Subscribe now.